Time to go home.
So, baby boy is officially a week old today. So, yeah. Yeah, honey. So I officially had my birth. I officially had my birth a week ago. It wasn't what I expected, for sure. Oh, honey. I'm 7 days postpartum and post-op. I have to wear this binder every time I'm up. Take this medication, this medication, this medication, and this medication. Drink hella water. Yeah. It's been quite the journey, and it was nothing that I truly expected. You know, I had a birth plan this whole time. I was going to do a natural water birth. I knew I was gonna pull him out from the water, and it really doesn't matter how fit you are. It doesn't matter how healthy you are. It doesn't matter, no matter what the plan is, there's always other options. And doing it again, I would definitely just keep more of an open mind as far as the other options and educate myself. I had no idea what a C-section entailed, or the recovery, or just anything. And it just all happened so fast. My water broke on Monday, the 31st at 3:58 p.m. And I started to feel, light cramping, what would be called contractions and things like that. I'm like, okay, he's getting ready. Tuesday, the 1st, I went in. They said I was only 2 centimeters dilated and he was still pretty high, but my labor was starting. So I also tested positive for GBS, the Group B strep. So they called me back and said they needed me to come in and induce me naturally. This is at the birthing center where I was going to have the baby, where I was going to have him. So I went there. I got there around 6 p.m. on the 1st. They started doing the induction process. So it was herbs. It was bouncing on the ball. It was stimulation. You know what I'm talking about? It was stimulation in a cycle. So my cramps and contractions started to get more and more intense. And, I started going into the laboring process. Mateo got real low, real fast, basically. And he ended up trying to force himself out, but I was still only dilated the 2 centimeters. And because we were forcing it and they induced my labor, my cervix was then swollen. So he wasn't able to get through. So we ended up trying, and I was in active labor for 16 hours of just like contractions and pain and in and out the tub and massages, bouncing on the ball, all of that at the birthing center. Went through that all night. Around like 6 a.m. on the 2nd, they checked me again, and I was still only the 2 centimeters. And they tried to do a procedure where they enlarge my uterus in a natural way. Or, like, and we tried, and that hurt. I made them, like, stop, take it out of me. I was like, no. Did what we could. I was just in pain, couldn't go to sleep, couldn't rest, couldn't do anything. Then around like 7:38, the midwife was like, you gotta go to the hospital. So we ended up going to the hospital. The car ride over there was painful. I never felt a pain like that before. Painful. I got to the hospital and the nurses checked me. The OB checked me. Same thing. I was still only 2 centimeters and my cervix was swollen. So they gave me an epidural for the pain. And then they came back like 30, 40 minutes later and first said that they were going to wait until like noon, and then they decided that they were just going to go ahead and proceed with the C-section. So they just prepped me for surgery. They prepped DeVante to be in there with me. And yeah, it was like go time. I don't really remember. I remember bits and pieces of it, but at that point I had so many pain medications plus the anesthesia. I was just like out of it. I couldn't feel anything. I just remember hearing him cry, and then I started bawling, of course. Started bawling. And he was out and he was safe, and that was like my main thing. I didn't really get a chance to process. Mateo was born at 11:23, so we got checked into the ER probably like 9:15, 9:30. It just happened all within that like hour and a half, 2 hours. So quickly. And then yeah, he was here. And he was healthy and nothing was wrong with him. But when he did come out, his head was very like, it was shaped like it was lodged in something. It was a little conish. So you can tell he was stuck in there for a while. So I'm happy that they got him out when they did, because it could have caused damage to me or him if we would have waited any longer. I had my doula there as well. She was amazing. We did a lot of aromatherapy and stuff when we were at the birthing place. She actually had to go when I had to go to the hospital. And then she saw us later, but she was a huge help in like my mental during that whole process, because at one point I'm like, keep him in me, like he can just stay in there because I can't do this, you know. But everything does happen for a reason, and you know, I didn't even really prepare myself for in case I had like a C-section or a surgery or anything like that. Like I just thought I was gonna pop him out and, you know, be a little sore for a couple days. I'm also breastfeeding, so it's very exhausting, like healing on top of being with the newborn, but also the newborn who needs you for not only nurturing, but for nutrition as well. So it's definitely a process. It's been a lot. This is probably one of the hardest things I've ever dealt with in my life. But I would do it all over again for him. He's pretty much the perfect baby. He just feeds, chills. Doesn't really cry, but yeah. From what my birthing plan was on a spectrum to what actually happened, they are on two different ends. So it was really this is a very eye-opening experience as well to go through, and I have a lot of respect for moms in general who go through any type of birth, natural birth, inducing, epidurals, anything, but especially moms who go through C-sections and still mom and make stuff happen, and it's, like I said, it's very eye-opening, but I'm just super thankful. I'm happy. I'm just exhausted. I know it's not gonna last for long. Taking care of myself, making sure I'm eating while I'm nursing. Breastfeeding is a whole nother beast as well. So I'm just embracing this process, the good, the bad, the ugly, the painful. But I can't wait to feel normal again, in a sense where I can do my own laundry and wash the dishes and be with him and, the whole nine. But it'll come. I'm just taking it a day at a time. Doing what I'm told. That'll make me heal in a good way. Yeah. I also had a crazy discharge story, but we're gonna get into that in a second. So my incision is literally like under here. So about 3.5 inches from my belly button. It's very low. I know some people's C-section scars are higher. I know, like back in the day, like my mom had a few C-sections, and yeah, so this is part of my little routine. Mother Love C-section cream. Just put it, now that my incision has healed, putting it directly on that scar. And it helps with scar tissue. It helps with the actual scar appearance, and it's supposed to help with pain as well. So I'm gonna see how it goes. Just kind of showing you what I do every morning, or like what my process is. Rubbing that on there. These are my Frida Mom disposable underwear. They've been a lifesaver. The hospital ones are pretty janky compared to these. The hospital ones, I'll open up a pack right now. The hospital ones are like white and see-through and pretty ugly. These are actually comfy. I would wear these not pregnant. But yeah, they're just there to help with any excess discharge or bleeding that you have, especially, like, I didn't know when you have a C-section that you still bleed because you technically don't have the baby vaginally, but your body still goes through all of those stages. So I still bled. I still use maxi pads. Another thing that I have to do with my postpartum and my C-section is I have to wear this binder when I'm not like going to the restroom or laying down or whatever. It's very similar like to a faja or like a waist trimmer, but what it's supposed to do, the doctor explained it to me, it's supposed to hug your scar. It's just supposed to relieve some pressure, but also help get everything back regular. Yeah, so I'm on postpartum day 11. I finally stopped taking pain medication a couple days ago. My prescription was out, but I didn't really like how it made me feel in the first place. I don't like feeling like zombie, like especially having a kid. So now I'm just on ibuprofen and Tylenol pretty much every 6 hours or like when needed for pain, and I'm gonna do that for probably another week or so. I'm just trying to heal correctly, you know, like especially for me, I'm so used to moving so much and basically doing too much that this journey has really sit me down and really like, I don't know if it's just part of my journey, but God was like, girl, sit your ass down and rest for real. And like, I feel like I haven't rested in I don't know how long, because I even was I was still training up until the day my water broke. So I had a training session like that morning. It was a Monday. I had a training session that morning at like 10:30. My water broke around 3:55 p.m. That Monday. So I literally trained and worked up until the day my water broke. So you know, everything happens for a reason, for sure, and I'm just like trying to embrace this journey, and I'm thankful for all the other moms that have like reached out or told me their birth stories as well, and just been really transparent with me as well, because I know it helps so many people. Like, women get pregnant literally all the time. Like, pregnancy is a beautiful thing, but so many people are pregnant, and so it's like we need so many more resources, because I feel like all the information is kind of like gate kept, because there's so many things about pregnancy I didn't know until I actually had to experience it for myself. And you know, all the advice that I was getting wasn't even really helpful or pertaining to my actual situation. It was like people speaking about their experiences and their trauma, which is completely valid, but at the same time I feel like there needs to be more of a guideline, because pregnancy is such a huge spectrum as well. Like, realistically, I planned a natural water birth, but on the other side of the spectrum, I had an emergency C-section because my baby was stuck in my pelvis. And my labor was 16 hours of strenuous like contractions, and like I thought I was going to die at one point. I told my partner, like, realistically, he's not coming out. We're gonna have to figure out another way. And God did. So I was in labor for a very long time, like too long. But yes, so I'm just trying to be as transparent as possible. Please let me know if there's anything that you need or want to touch on. I'm super proud of myself because I started pumping. I pumped like 7 ounces today already, and it's only, I don't even have a watch, it's like 10 something, but my partner wants to help with feeding, so I'm going to try to utilize that as much as possible. And then I just want to relieve some of my boob pain. Like, I'm producing very well, which is a blessing, but I don't want to get any clogged milk ducts or engorged ducts. So pumping is going to be like a win-win for everybody. But yeah, I'm really in a space where emotionally and mentally I'm okay, but also there's so many hormones and things regulating and going around that I don't feel like my normal self, but I also feel like I'm like shedding my old self, and now I'm stepping into my motherhood self, if that makes sense. Like, I don't feel like I'll ever get back to me, because this is a new me. This is a new normal. This is a new process, especially with my beautiful baby boy. Yeah, it's completely different. So I don't say like, I don't feel like I'm gonna like snap back and get back to like my normal, because I officially have a new normal, but I'm excited to just find out what that new normal is and embrace it. So but yeah, so I'm still taking I keep rubbing my belly like I'm still pregnant. It's just a habit. Keep rubbing my belly. So I'm still taking medications, like I was saying. I'm just on ibuprofen and Tylenol now. So like when I start my day, middle of the day, end of the night, I really don't like taking medicine or pills at all. It really fucking sucks, honestly. But we're here. I started pumping, like I said. I am super proud that I got at least 7 ounces so far today. I'll feed him, let him go back to sleep, and then I'll do it again just because my partner wants to help with feedings, and any way to like ease my load right now will be helpful to everybody. So I can't wait to not feel like a burden anymore. The first especially week was really hard for me because I'm so independent that it's really hard for me to like ask for help or not do things, or see a sink full of dishes and not be able to do them, or unload the dishwasher for my partner so it's easier for him. You know what I mean? Like, he's definitely taken on a whole load, which I'm super thankful for because he's taken like a champ. Also, side note, nobody really talks about like how postpartum affects your relationships. Like, definitely the first few days were like, oh, loving baby, whatever, and then after those first few days it was definitely like finding a new normal in our routine, but also the best way to make us help each other. So I think I'm gonna actually do a video with him and we can talk about certain things about like transitions for a partner after a baby, especially after a C-section, because it is so much. Like I said, I couldn't do the dishes. I couldn't stand for long. I was supposed to be resting on my feet. My feet got super swollen, which was an indicator I was standing too much or like doing too much. So really just sitting down and letting my partner help me and letting people help me. Yeah, so we'll be back. Oh, this is what I wanted to talk about. So these cookies for milk production are the plug. They come in these little packs. They're lactation cookies. Shout out to Helen and Donna Rose because I got 2 big boxes so far. But yeah, they taste actually good, and they help you with keeping your milk production up if you have any issues with that. Like I said, I'm super thankful I haven't had any issues with pumping or with my milk supply, and I pray that continues. But it's definitely hard on women because I've talked to some women who can't produce at all, or like had their baby early and can't produce, so literally every body and every pregnancy is so different. So things that might work for you might not work for the next person, and vice versa. So definitely take advice with a grain of salt. Keep in mind, I'm just speaking on my experience, but take everybody's advice with a grain of salt and just do what's best for you, for your body. Consult your doctor, your OB, your midwife, whoever you have, and just talk about like the best things for you, for your body, for your lifestyle, for what you need, because that's super key. And don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask them about recovery or what you need, or even if your incision scar looks good, you know what I mean? Because all those things matter and it's part of your recovery, but it helps your recovery. So baby boy's getting up, so I'm about to feed him. I might do some, it's gonna be kind of hard for me to like vlog me pumping and stuff because it's a little inappropriate, I don't want to get like flagged or get my content shut down, but we're gonna make it work. We're gonna, I'm just gonna keep sharing my journey, keep embracing the journey, the good, the bad, the ugly, and we're just gonna see what it does. But let me go check on Mateo.